Hey everyone, Kyle Walker here. If you love cars, fixing things, or just want to understand your vehicle better, you're in the right place. I share hands-on tips, smart driving advice, and straight-up car talk without the fluff. Make sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and stick around till the end. You don't want to miss what's coming up. Let's get into it.
Experienced motorists casually throw the phrase the technique used to be exceptionally reliable. They are right, in a certain sense. Indeed, is it worth comparing the level of complexity of a modern car and its analog of 50 to 60 years ago? And if the product is simple, it is by definition more reliable. Owners of cars of the latest generations will surely agree with this. While major breakdowns at the initial stage of operation are very rare, minor failures are something you just have to cope with. In this aspect, the products of the Leningrad Carburetor plant can be considered legendary, and its flagship is rightfully recognized as the K-151 carburetor, better known under the nickname Picard. There are legends about its reliability. It is no coincidence that it is used on cars with ZMZ and UZM power units, in particular, on the famous domestic SUV UAZ. But, as you know, the greatest efficiency of this device demonstrates with the right settings. Today we will tell you how to achieve this. Functions and device of the carburetor. In modern engines, an electronic system working in tandem with the injector is responsible for the preparation of the TVS. The predecessor of this scheme is the carburetor, which is able to prepare a high-quality fuel mixture without any participation of electronic brains. And since the proportions of the mixture vary depending on the mode of operation of the motor, the carburetor must be able to prepare the optimal composition at any load, from idle to maximum crankshaft speed. And, it must be said, it copes well with this task. Even today, K-151 can be found on such domestic cars as Gazelle, with all its modifications, IZH, Volga, and of course UAZ. Although there are many models in the range of Picard brand, 151st is given an honorable place, and there are many modifications of this carburetor, differing in the name of the letter after the numerical designation of the model. In particular, cars GAZ 3302, or simply Gazelle, as well as GAZ 3102, Volga, are equipped with a carburetor modification K-151C. The differences between the modifications are in the journals of different diameters, designed for the preparation of fuel assemblies for specific power units. The composition of the carburetor Picard 151, body with float chamber, secondary upper housing, in which throttle valves are installed, which are controlled by a drive cable connected to the accelerator pedal, PC cover, which serves as a platform for installation of a shut-off mechanism preventing overfilling of the chamber with fuel. It also houses the air damper used for starting and warming up a cold engine, the metering system, which is responsible for the formation of the fuel-air mixture and includes channels of a certain diameter, 2 air and the same number of fuel injectors, idle subsystem, used when the power unit operates at idle speed. It includes a bypass channel, 1 fuel and 1 air nozzle each, fuel mixture quantity/quality adjustment screws, and a diaphragm type economizer valve, gas pedal pump, which is responsible for even engine dynamics, without stalling at a sharp increase in RPM. Includes additional channels running in the body with a float chamber, a diaphragm device, a ball valve, and a gasoline atomizer, econostat, a part that enriches the mixture when the engine is running at higher speeds. Includes a system of additional channels designed to supply the intake manifold with an unscheduled portion of fuel when the throttle is fully open, transient system, which is activated at the initial stage of opening of the choke, located in the secondary chamber, and serves for a smooth increase in RPM. It includes a pair of both types of jets. Thus, K-151 belongs to the category of dual-chamber carburetors, in which the shutter valves are opened sequentially. A strainer is integrated into the inlet connection. It also has a fuel line designed to drain excess gasoline back into the tank and to protect against excessive pressure in the chamber. As you can see, this device cannot be called simple, so it requires a lot of experience to perform its settings. Connecting hoses. The complex structure of the K-151 is also evident when connecting it to the engine. It provides for the use of a number of hoses, and only 2 different sizes are used, so it is quite possible to confuse them. and the engine will malfunction in certain modes. The order of connecting hoses to the carburetor, fuel supply through the fuel pipe is carried out to the fitting located under the float chamber on the motor side. The return hose is put on the lower connector. It looks backwards from the power unit and is located below the inlet connector. Two small hoses are connected to the solenoid valve. The other end of one of them is connected to the economizer valve. The second end of the thin hose is put on the connector located in the lower part of K-151 on the back side of the remote control housing. There are two of them next to each other. We will use the lower one. The upper hose of this pair is put on the hose going to the ignition advance vacuum. It is located on the trampler. The large diameter connector on the RPM housing is used to connect the socket of the forced crankcase ventilation, a device usually located on the valve cover, small diameter connector. Located in the middle part of the K-151, is used to connect the thermal vacuum switch, but this pipe is used only if the engine has an exhaust gas recirculation system. If a particular modification of the engine does not have such a system, this fitting is simply installed on the plug. However, such a precaution is unnecessary. There is no air intake through this connector. Read also why the steering wheel is tight in the car and how to fix it in the absence of experience. These connections should be carried out, checking with the instructions to the device. Adjusting the idle speed on the car. Adjustment of idle speed on the Peter carburetor K-151 is of fundamental importance. This is a special mode of operation of the engine, which requires stable operation. This is exactly what is achieved by proper adjustment of the idle speed, which also helps to minimize the amount of carbon dioxide in the car exhaust, which is important in terms of modern environmental requirements. Over time, as a result of clogging of the filter grid, the amount of fuel burned in the Kaha mode increases beyond the norm, and in this case the situation can be corrected by appropriate adjustment. This operation is not particularly difficult. First of all, it is necessary to warm up the CA to operating temperature. Then it is necessary to find the fuel assembly quality screw located on the rotation shank and remove the restrictor from it. Note that the rotation limiter function is not present on all car modifications. If your car does not have it, just proceed to the next step. Adjust the quality screw, for which we are looking for the position of the screw at which the power unit will produce the maximum number of revolutions when working at idle. This moment should be determined by ear. More precise methods require the use of special equipment. Now go to the quantity screw located next to it, with the help of which adjustment it is necessary to increase the crankshaft rotation speed by 100 to 120 revolutions per minute. After that, it is necessary to fully tighten the quality screw, which will lead to a drop in revolutions by the same amount, within 100 to 120 revolutions per minute. If the revolutions do not drop as a result of a slight depletion of the mixture, it indicates the presence of carburetor malfunction. Adjustment of K-151 carburetor PU. The starter is a component that is the source of the signal that informs you that the power unit is starting. If the components of the starting system are defective or not working properly, you will not be able to start the vehicle. But even with a serviceable starting mechanism, there may be problems that make starting difficult. For their correction and adjustment of the carburetor K-151 is carried out, and such work can be carried out both on the dismantled and on the working and installed on the engine device. Adjustment on the dismantled car is carried out in the following order. Slightly open the starter door and look for the control lever of the PU. Turn it to the end position and fix it with something suitable, rope, wire. Release the stopping chamber to the initial position. At the same time, the gap between the chamber wall and the flap edge should be within 1.5 plus or minus 0.3 mm. Unscrew the lock nut blocking the rotation of the stop screw located on the choke lever. Turn the screw itself step by step, each time by half a turn. At the same time, we must ensure that when tightening the lock nut, the screw is located perpendicular to the cam, otherwise the PU will not work. Check the linkage, by means of which the PU cam is connected to the air damper levers. With PU lever turned to the end position and fully closed air damper, it is necessary to achieve the value of the gap between the levers within 0.2 to 0.8 millimeters. If it is not so, The adjustment is carried out by releasing or tightening the rod head, which allows shortening or lengthening the rod itself. Adjust the PU carburetor K-151 can be adjusted without removing it, and it will not affect the quality of adjustment. Read also, ways to restore the tread pattern and tire restoration with their own hands. Dismantle the air filter of the car, of course. Without removing the box, start the engine at idle. By pressing the accelerator pedal, open the choke, and pull out the knob, the mechanism responsible for controlling the operation of the air damper. By means of a screwdriver with a flat tip, open the air damper. At the same time, it is necessary to determine the speed of the power unit shaft, reference point, 2600 plus or minus 100 revolutions/minute. If the speed is much higher, do a similar operation to the one performed on the removed carburetor. Unscrew the lock nut of rotation. Blocking of the adjusting screw of the lever driving the stopping valve. After unscrewing the lock nut, turn the crankshaft. If it turns slower than necessary, turn the crankshaft back in, tighten the lock nut. After adjusting the starting mechanism, it is necessary to run in the carburetor. Important. Before carrying out adjustment work, it is necessary to determine and record the fuel consumption when operating in different modes, in order to be able to compare with the indicators achieved after adjustment. Adjusting the fuel level in the float chamber. Incorrectly adjusted level of gasoline in the PC is an unbalanced engine operation. If it is overestimated, the mixture will be enriched, and one of the most tangible consequences of this state of affairs will be increased fuel consumption. If the level is less than the norm, the fuel mixture will be depleted, which is even worse for the engine, because it can lead to serious failures requiring expensive repairs. Thus, the level of fuel in the float is a critical indicator for any carburetor, regardless of make and model. To accurately adjust the float in the chamber K-151, we need a ruler and a drill with a diameter of up to 2 millimeters. Set the machine on a level horizontal platform. This is important, since we will work with liquid. Dismantle the air filter housing. Located on the power unit, start the engine. Let it run at idling speed for about 5 to 7 minutes. Unscrew and remove the top cover of the carburetor. Measure the fuel level in millimeters in the float chamber. This operation should be carried out promptly, because gasoline is characterized by a high rate of evaporation, especially in the heat, which will contribute to the heating of the engine. If we delay, we risk getting distorted results. For K-151 measurements should give about 215 millimeters. This is a figure considered normal for the effective operation of the engine. If the level does not correspond to the normative level, we adjust it by changing the position of the float. For this, we need to use something that allows us to measure the position of the float during the adjustment. Work, the drill offered at the beginning, or a piece of wire, or any similar cylindrical object will come in handy. The main thing is that its diameter should not exceed 2 millimeters. Turn the lid K-151 and put it on a flat horizontal surface. Only in this position the measurements will be accurate. Measure with a ruler the distance from the carburetor cap. We choose the cardboard gasket as a reference point to the lower edge of the float. This distance should not be more than 2 mm. If this is not the case, the tab on the float lever should be bent to achieve the correct clearance. The same operation can be performed with a caliper, but in this case the distance from the cardboard gasket to the upper edge of the float must be measured. The correct result is 30 millimeters. If there is a mismatch, we again bend the lever tongue, achieving the required value. Note that when carrying out all the above described adjustments, there is a possibility of errors, especially if it is engaged in an inexperienced car owner. Therefore, after performing the adjustment, it is necessary to check its correctness. It is done in the following way. K-151 cover is moved to the vertical position. Observe the tongue, which we bent or did not touch. If the level was normal, if everything is done without mistakes, the tongue should slightly press and sink the damping ball located on the IR. The lever tongue should be at a level running strictly parallel to the needle valve. Look also at the float stamping axis, which should be located at a level coinciding with the carburetor cover. If at least one of these conditions is not met, the PC fuel level adjustment procedure will have to be repeated. Many drivers limit themselves to 2 iterations, even if the situation requires otherwise. We recommend that you still complete the adjustment properly, regardless of the time spent. The experience gained will come in handy. In conclusion, adjusting the K-151 carburetor on your own can seem daunting, but with the right tools and a bit of patience, it is entirely achievable. By following the steps outlined in this video, you can ensure your engine runs smoothly and efficiently. Remember to take your time, make small adjustments, and always double-check your work. With practice, you'll gain confidence in your skills and enjoy the satisfaction of maintaining your vehicle yourself. Thank you for watching, and happy tinkering.